Hello everyone. Now we'll be discussing some other ways of defining constants in C++. In addition to the way using of literals, we can also define using it const keyword, using hash define, that is manifest constant, and that is defined without a parameter, and enum data facility. So first we will be discussing about manifest constant. Now what is manifest constant? It is a macro without a parameter. जो अभी तक हमने macros देखे हैं, हम आगे जाके पढ़ेंगे कभी कि macros में parameters भी आ सकते हैं, पर जब macros में parameter नहीं आते, यानी कि जब हम hash define use कर रहे हैं और उससे हम symbolic constants बना रहे हैं, तो उस केस में जब हम उसको constants बनाने के help करते हैं, जैसे कि आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं max size हमने यहाँ पे declare किया और उसकी value हमने 10 दी हुई है. इसी तरह हमने पाई की वैल्यू, अगर आपको याद हो, हमने पहले जब प्रोग्राम डेवलपमेंट में ये वाला प्रोग्राम किया था तो वहां पे हमने पाई की वैल्यू ये वाली ली थी, तो उसके अकॉर्डिंगली यहाँ पे हमने ये शो करने की कोशिश की है कि यहाँ पे एक कांस्टेंट वैल्यू पाई को मिल रही है, इसी तरह मैक्स साइज को एक 10 वैल्यू कांस्टेंट वैल्यू मिल रही है. इसका फायदा क्या होता है कि ये जो पर्टिकुलर वैल्यूज देने का हमें, और प्री प्रोसेसर आपको मालूम है कंपाइलिंग फेज से पहले अपनी सारी प्रोसेसिंग कंप्लीट कर लेता है. प्री प्रोसेसिंग मतलब रिप्लेसमेंट्स कर देता है सारे कोड की. तो ये बहुत ही सिंपल टेक्स्ट सब्स्टिट्यूशन प्रोसेस होता है और इसमें कोई कोड की एवेल्युएशन की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती. तो इसका सबसे बड़ा एडवांटेज क्या है इस तरह से कांस्टेंट डिफाइन करने का, कि द मोस्ट इजीएस्ट एडवांटेज इज इजियर प्रोग्राम मेंटेनेंस. सो इसमें क्या होता है कि अगर कल को we need to modify this constant value, that is symbolic name, or the value that it is having, then we only need to make the changes in hash define directive and no other changes are required. So this is very easy maintenance, and this is the advantage of using manifest constant using hash define. Now, so if you remember, this is the program that is using hash define constant, and this program was discussed in the unit 1, and this particular program makes use of hash define. As you can see here, we have defined the value of pi. Now this value is not determined by the value or a fixed value. Here we are using some formulas that will be calculated at the time of processing, pre-processing, to determine the value of pi. Now this value will be used in this particular statement. As you can see, pi over 180 will give us the value of the radians. Therefore we have multiplied, because it assumes to be value to be given in radians, and therefore we have to enter the value in degrees. So therefore the value of pi into 180 is multiplied with this. So this way we can use hash define. Okay, thank you. The other way that we can use constants is using const qualifier. Const qualifier, the term qualifier is we add it to before it the data type of the variable. So another way of declaring constant is using const qualifier. Now they are declared in a manner similar to a variable, except the declarations are preceded by a const qualifier, and it is very mandatory that you must initialize these values. If you don't initialize this value, it will not work. So they should be initialized, must be initialized when declared. This is a very important, and it is mandatory. So initialization can be done through various ways. Okay, we'll be discussing about the various ways of initialization, and the basic value is this way. In this you can see we have put equal to sign. This is initialization by copy, and it is the most basic way. In this way the max size is signed. Another way is to put it within parentheses. You can see over here we have put the value, and this is the value method of direct initialization. Now in this method, what will happen? Pi will be assigned this value within parentheses. Next is we can also specify the value within curly braces, and this value of this way of initializing constant value is uniform initialization, but it is available only in C++ 11 and later. So this is the way of defining constant. In addition, a null value can also be assigned, and this is how the null value is assigned, because a natural constants, these are natural constants, and these are defined in such a manner. Now there are some points that should be kept in mind, that constants can be defined globally as well as locally. Now they have internal linkage, therefore they can appear in header files, but in case of C they have external linkage, and therefore they appear in source files. Then constants another feature is the constant variable can appear in constant expression if it is of type int. So you can look over here that it is an expression whereas max size is acting as expression of constant value, that is, and it is having a part in the array size declaration, that the max size of the array is declared in this way. Thus we can say that constants can appear in the constant expression, but it should be of type int only. That is, the max size value should be something of int only. Now let us create a program to show how const is used in a program. Now this is a constant variable that I have declared over here, and it is having a value 10. I will show you if I don't put the value what will happen. First I print this value, I run this program, I save it and run it. I've put one extra bracket. So you can see 10 value is there. Now if I have made this value, as I've told you, it is very important to initialize it. Let's see what happens. So it may showing me some error, so I have to put this value. Next I'll try to change this value. So it is saying that it is a read-only variable and you cannot change its value. So this is not allowed. So this is how basically a const is used. I can also initialize it with a value like this. So you can see this is also one of the ways, and like this also. So these are the different ways that you can use for initializing a const, and you must initialize it, otherwise it generates an error. Now you can also use hash define for the same, one of the ways. Let me use it. First let me save it. Okay, I have put something wrong. Okay, there is no error. I don't know why it is showing me. Okay, hash define. Let it be b and let the value be 20. I print this value and you can see that it is printing the values. I have to put handle n. Similarly, I can also use enum. Let the number be c and it can be initialized value. If you don't put value, it takes 0. I put over here the value and put semicolon over here, and I check what will be the value of this enum. So it is printing the third value also again. So you can try this particular thing. There is one more thing, const expr, which has been introduced in C++ 11. You can also use that. Okay. Now let's make a program that shows const can be defined locally as well as globally. Let me name some variable global. It has value. Now this is a global variable, and let me define const int local is equal to 25, let's say. I print these values. I first go for global, smaller value to be printed. So let's see, I just make backspace. What will be the answer? So you can see that we can access both the values locally as well as globally. Next is now next is why we define why we prefer const over hash define. Okay, it should be define. F is missing over here. You shouldn't. So there are some advantages over of using const over defined preprocessor. First, it does not perform const qualifier is used instead of hash defined preprocessor because preprocessor does not perform any type of type checking. Now you know that preprocessor is substituted before compilation, so therefore no type checking is done in case of hash defined. Also, variables defined using const as data type is exclusively specified, so the compiler can enforce that it is used according to its type. So due to the specification of the data type at the time of initialization, so it is very important, and variables are evaluated only at the time of evaluation. This means variable defined using const are visible to the compiler. So therefore this is, and therefore we can also add watches and debugging, perform debugging. So this is one of the key features. Then it can be used with pointers and declarations, and it can be, okay, this program shows the use of const with pointers. Various pointer declarations are given. As you can see, this is a normal pointer declaration which we normally use with pointers, which is assigned the address of a number, and this is shown here. The value pointed by the number can be accessed by *ptr. Now, if we change the value, now before initialization, the value of num is printed, and suppose we change the value of *ptr, then we can see that the value of *ptr will get 20. Another way of defining constant with pointers is constant pointer. Now this is a constant pointer to int. Now this is, it is written in first. In the first case you have to write constant pointer to int. Okay, this is very important. You can also write over here const int pointer. Now if you write it, it will become pointer to const. Now this is const pointer, and this is, sorry, const pointer to int. Okay, so it is a pointer to integer. It is a pointer to a const, pointer to a const. So you have to take care. This is normally when we use. Now if, let's see what is the value. If we try to change it, it should generate some error. Okay, so it is showing me that I cannot modify this value. If I try to do so, so I have to change it. I will have to, if I remove it, okay, what will happen? It will be possible. Let me show you first. If I don't write it and save it and run it, it is showing the value, but as I make it const, now I get an error as it is indicated over here. So we cannot modify if it is const. Now it is pointer to const, it is const pointer to int. Now it can be changed. Let's see what will be the output. Now again it cannot be changed because it is const, so you cannot change it. So here also you get an error that you cannot change it. Okay, And this is another way we can also define const pointer to const integer, because it is a pointer to what it is written over here. So this is how you can remember it, but you should make sure that constant values are not being modified. So this program shows it. Okay, thank you. Part of member function, we can also make member functions as const, and these member functions are called constant member function. This is read only function and cannot modify the data members of the class. So if you declare any member function of a class to be a constant, then you cannot modify those data members of the class using that read only function. So any attempt to do so will raise an error. So programmers usually put a const keyword after the name of the declaration in that particular definition, so that you can come to know that this is constant member function, and it can be called only through the const function member const way objects. So therefore this is again a condition. Then constructors and destructors cannot be declared with const, that is, they cannot be declared const. That is very important. So this is another point that we should know and keep in mind while working with const. This program shows the concept of constant member function. For this, I first define a class. Let it be class book, which is having a private member. Let's say it to be a write in a separate line, int, or you can say the price is double, so it is better you write it to be double because it can be in points. And it is having public member functions, like it will be having, let's say, a constructor, and we also give, let's say, it a title. No doubt we are not declaring it as a member, and double p. Okay, there are various ways to initialize it, so let me do the simplest, and I am just printing a value over here, the name of the book that will be there, and let it be the title, and NN will be beneficial, and let me assign the value to the member data member p price of this particular p. Now let me make two functions. One is get price. It will return the price of the book. Now I want it to be a constant member function, so let me declare it on separate lines. And now it is returning price, and price is of type double, so I have to write double, and it is declared const because price does not change. Let it be a constant, spellings are issue over here, member function. Okay, and suppose we change the price, so to check whether this can be done or not, but since set price, and let it be a new value, and it be double p, and price will be, okay, double, let it be again a local variable p, bracket is missing over here, price is equal to p, and one bracket is extra, delete it. And since it is not having any value to be returned, so let me declare it void, and set price, and it is non const member function. Okay, so thereafter this it should end with semicolon. Now I switch over to my main function, from where this object of this class I want to create, and let it be the name of the function class object be also const, and let it be of type book, and let it be a book, and let me set to learn C++ program, and let the price initially price be 550.50. okay, so this is a constant object. Now what I do, I try to call this particular set price with this value, and let me modify. Okay, I've written to set price, and let me modify it to some value that I will send to it, and set price will be stored in let it be 720 the price, and I put semicolon over here. Now it is showing error because we cannot do so, because it is a constant member function, a book, and since it is private I have declared get function to get the price of the book. Now it is showing an error. If you try to run this program, let me save it. Now if I run, it is indicating that it cannot be modified. So let me comment it and create a non-constant member function to ensure that it can be accessed. So I will make this go, and C plus now I have created another object, but I have now ensured that this object modifies this value because it is a non-const object. So if you now get the price, you will get the new price of the book. Earlier it was 550, and if you want to print that price also, let's see earlier price. If you want to get, so this will be the earlier price, and here we will have to mention the correct names. Okay, so I hope this program is finished. Now let me run it. Okay, it is showing me that earlier the first is printing the book name. If you look at the code, yeah, here it is printing the get price values first for the two, and then it is showing me that the earlier price is this and this. This is possible because I could change it, and this is possible because it is calling from non-const. So const can also be used for declaring constant member functions, and this is how I have declared it to be a const, and this cannot be modified. So if I try to call it through non-const, it can be called, but if you try to call it through I mean to say that const object, and can call get price, but it cannot call non-const. So here what we are doing, we are calling const non-const member function from const object, which is not allowed. So this is how the things work in this case. Okay, next is enumeration. Enumeration is another data type, used for creating user defined data type. Now this is another way, or you can say uh, way of creating constants, where we can create a group of constants, and this will be discussed in detail, but normally I will just be giving a brief overview. Now in this particular user defined data type, we have a set of values. As you can see here, we have added day of week and given these values. These values are called enumeration constant, and these are known as enumeration, each representing an integral constant. So this is default value 0, and this is 1, and so on. So these are the enumeration, the way of declaring enumeration. What is enumeration? It is a type of user defined data type, and it helps to create a set of values that this variable will be taking. So here the name of the variable or enumeration is, this is a user defined data type, and these are the set of values that this particular enumeration can take, and it is called enumerators. Okay. So internally compiler assigns the leftmost enumeration default value 0, but we have different ways we can change this. We'll be discussing when we'll be discussing about the enumeration. And once the enumeration data type is defined, variables can be defined for that particular type. Now this is a user defined data type. These are the variables. So using enumeration, we can perform many more things. And C++, we have little more advanced enumeration, such as scoped enumeration, that why it came, what was the problem, because two enumeration with same enumeration constant could not exist within a program, so that was there. So these are some of the points that we'll be discussing when we'll be discussing enumeration. Okay.